Rome, 1st century BC. Your house is on fire. You're screaming for help. Flames are devouring the wooden beams, smoke pouring into the streets. And then, relief floods through you. A brigade arrives. 500 men, trained and ready. But they don't move, they just stand there, watching. Their leader steps forward. Marcus Licinius Crassus, the richest man in Rome. And he makes you an offer. Sell me your house, right now, at my price, or I let it burn to ash. This is how one man became wealthier than emperors, by turning Rome's greatest nightmare into the most profitable business model in ancient history. Rome in the 1st century BC was a tinderbox. Over 1 million people crammed into a city with no building codes, no fire department, no regulations. Wooden structures stacked 5, 6, 7 stories high in narrow alleys. People cooked over open flames. They heated apartments with oil lamps and braziers. One spark and entire neighborhoods could vanish in hours. Fires broke out in Rome almost daily. Small fires, medium fires that consumed whole blocks, and occasionally catastrophic conflagrations that leveled districts. If your house caught fire, you had 2 options. Grab a bucket and pray, or watch everything burn. There was no one coming to save you, because Rome had no public fire brigade. But Crassus saw something everyone else missed. Where Romans saw disaster, he saw opportunity. He bought slaves, lots of them. According to Plutarch, he specifically bought slaves who were architects and builders. When he had assembled over 500 of these specialists, he had created something Rome had never seen: a private fire brigade. Here's how it worked. When a fire broke out, Crassus's men would rush to the scene, but they wouldn't fight the fire, not yet. Instead, Crassus would begin negotiations. While the flames raged, he would make an offer. Sell me your house right now, at whatever price I name, or my men stand down and you lose everything. Plutarch describes it clearly. Crassus would buy houses that were afire, and houses which adjoined those that were afire, and these their owners would let go at a trifling price owing to their fear and uncertainty. Most people sold. What choice did they have? Only after the purchase would his fire brigade actually fight the flames. They'd save what they could, then rebuild the structures. According to Plutarch, Crassus acquired the largest part of Rome this way. The economics was staggering. He'd buy properties for a fraction of their value. And it was completely legal. There was no law against buying burning buildings, no regulation requiring him to fight fires. By the time Crassus was at his peak, his wealth was estimated at 7,100 talents, the equivalent of hundreds of millions of dollars today, possibly over $1 billion. Rome couldn't ignore the problem forever. In 21 BC, an official named Marcus Ignatius Rufus created his own fire brigade of about 600 slaves. But unlike Crassus, Rufus's brigade fought fires for free. The Roman people loved him. His popularity soared. Fire protection was political gold. But when Rufus tried to run for consul, Emperor Augustus saw a threat. Rufus was executed for conspiracy. However, Augustus recognized that Rufus had been onto something, and in 6 AD, after a particularly devastating fire, Augustus did what no Roman leader had done before. He created Rome's first public fire brigade, the Vigiles Urbani. Augustus organized 7,000 freedmen into 7 cohorts, each responsible for 2 of Rome's 14 districts. They were equipped with pumps, buckets, axes, and ladders. They patrolled at night, watching for fires, and they responded without demanding payment. The Romans nicknamed them the Spartioli, the little bucket fellows. For the first time in Roman history, fire protection was a public service, not a private enterprise. The age of Crassus's fire brigade was over. Crassus never lived to see the Vigiles. By 6 AD, he'd been dead for decades, killed in 53 BC during a military campaign in Parthia. But his fire brigade scheme remains one of history's most brazen examples of disaster capitalism. The phrase fire sale originally meant exactly this: Properties sold at rock-bottom prices because they were literally on fire. Was it evil? By our standards, absolutely. It was exploitative, predatory, and morally bankrupt. But by Roman standards, it was just business. And it reveals something uncomfortable. When there's no public safety net, private individuals will fill the gap, and they'll charge whatever the market will bear, even if the market is a family watching their home burn. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. I've got more historical stories like this coming your way.